What's up, everyone? I am Dr. Caleb Kaufman with NorCal Physio, and this is Morning Mobility. 15 minutes to get you moving in the morning to help you get unsticky and ready to meet the day. Today, what we're going to focus on is thoracic rotation. So for this, you're going to need a lacrosse ball, a baseball, a tennis ball, something round that you can put some pressure on your back, and you're also going to need a little stretchy band. As with most stuff, we don't need a huge resistance. This is going to be something that we're focusing on mobility, focusing on range of motion, not necessarily strength. So don't get your ego in the way and get a big thick band. Just get something small to start with. So the first one we're going to do is a very simple lacrosse ball smash. This ball is going to find some nasty trigger points in your mid-back, your thoracic spine, paraspinal muscles, the muscles that run up and down the spine. And we're just going to lean into it a little bit, get a little bit of that uncomfortable muscle trigger point sensation, and then hang out there a little bit. Two ways you can do this. You can either do it on the ground where you're laying on the ball. For some people, that's a little bit too much. So if that is too much, feel free just to stand up, put the ball behind your back, and then lean against a wall. I'm going to do it on the floor, but we can always modify as much as we need to. This is to get you moving. It's to get you at your level, not overreach, but think about improving your mobility day by day. So get the lacrosse ball, and you're going to find the uncomfortable spot. Mine's probably going to be right about here. Start on your side, and then nice and easy, I want you to roll over onto the ball until you feel that pressure. So notice I'm not all the way on my back. We don't need to go 100%. Even if we start with 30, 40%, find that spot, and then we can start adding some pressure. As you're able to, lay all the way back. You see my back's in a little bit of extension. That's kind of what we want. So find the spot and just enjoy that pressure. 15, 20 seconds per spot, and then find a new one, and then doing that same thing. I would go along your spine on one side, and then switch over to that other side. A good cue to remember with this is make sure that you're on the muscles, make sure you're not hitting the spinous process, make sure you're not hitting the ribs. Lacrosse balls and bones don't get along too well, so just try to stay on that soft tissue. All right. After you found a couple spots there, hang out there for about 2 or 3 minutes. The next thing we're going to do is a very simple open book exercise. We're really focusing on thoracic rotation. We want to make sure that we're getting thoracic, not low back and not shoulder. So we have a couple cues that I want you to focus on. The first one is as you bring your knee over, make sure the knee's on the ground. Get this foot underneath the leg so that it's nice and stable. Now what I want you to do, bring your arms straight, and as you rotate back, a lot of times we just stop here and we just use the shoulder to rotate. Try to avoid this motion. We're not trying to stretch the shoulder, we're trying to stretch the spine. So use your sternum, the bone in the middle, the chest bone, as an indicator. It's starting straight, and we're going to want it to point up. So here, and then just drop everything back and let the mid-back stretch. So as you're doing this, think about the sternum pointing up, but you can also think about that shoulder blade just dropping back towards the ground. And then come out of it, and then back in. There's not really a set time that you have to rest back here. If you like that stretch, if you like the feeling, go ahead and keep that. Hold it there for a little bit if you want. Otherwise, just do a couple reps, probably 10 reps, and then you're going to switch sides. So this one's easy to modify if you don't feel in the right space. Play around with your spine position a little bit. A lot of us have a tendency to hunch forward. Try to make sure the back is nice and straight. That knee's down, and see if you can get that in a different stretchy position. So even with that little modification, the stretch for me has gone from like that thoracolumbar junction up to the thoracic spine, and it's a little bit different of a stretch. There is no right or wrong way to do it. It just really determines what you want to feel where you want to feel it, and then just do it that way. Okay, so we have that lacrosse ball smash, and then we have the open book rotation exercise. The next thing we're going to do is bring a little bit of activity into it. So the first two are very passive. We're getting those muscles to move. We're getting the joints to move. Now we want to actually get the muscles to work. So what we're going to do is come against the wall, just like this. The near foot is going to be up. The back foot is going to be down. Try to keep the knee, the hip, and the shoulder in a straight line. You're going to have a tendency to do this. Try to keep everything straight. You're going to get a band that's wrapped around something pretty solid. Again, not a lot of tension. I'm going to start with no tension because this is really challenging for me because as I rotate, the tension is going to build and build and build. So with both hands straight, so the knee, the hip, the shoulder, and the hand are against the wall, you're going to open up that hand, open up the chest, and try to rotate backwards. So again, same thing with the thoracic spine rotation exercise on the ground. You're going to have a tendency to do this motion. This is doing absolutely nothing for your thoracic spine. What we want to do is, again, use that sternum as an indicator, and you're going to rotate and open up. I would really suggest doing this a couple times without any resistance, just to get the movement, and then you can start to add that band. But even here, as you notice, my hip right about here, my hip starts to drop back. So I really want to engage the glute muscles, give me some little hip extension movement. Keep that tight and rotate the thoracic spine above it. So now we're going to add the band here, glute tight, rotating through the thoracic spine. Okay, 3 very simple exercises for you to do. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Go through 1 set of each. Do the left side, then the right side. Do the next exercise, left side, right side. Next exercise, left side, right side. Once you're done with that, you're going to have time left on the clock. So just start cycling through those for 15 or 20 minutes. Remember, the better we can move in the morning, the better the day is going to be. A lot of times we get in a funk, we get in some sort of problem with our back or our hips, everything starts hurting because we just wake up, we jump out of bed, we go about our day. Let's take a little bit of time in the morning to move. Let's do some very intentional direct movement, different body part every single day. Just get some great mobility work.